I knew that something was wrong. I felt it in my heart. I said, Lord, he is gone. And they just won't tell me. Today's video is going to be about, y'all can tell, you know what I'm saying, it got to be something serious because I did my little face. I got my eyebrows done, my lashes, I look good. So today's story is going to be regarding the car accident I was speaking about in my last video that I briefly kind of went over. And I decided to do a video about it because it's a very important part of my life. It's probably one of the most important parts of my life so far. Other than my birth, this accident is a very intricate part of my life because it was at this moment that a lot of parts of my life really changed around. So take you back to June of 2013, June 28th to be exact. Me and my sister, we usually back when we were younger, we would always spend the night at like our aunt's house and stuff like that, you know, to go spend the night with our cousins, or they would come to our house, and you know, we were like those sister cousins, those brother cousins, like those cousins that really like, you know, siblings to you. Y'all just have different parents. That's what it was. So it wasn't uncommon that we would go over to, you know, our aunt's house and stay the night. I believe that we were at my aunt's house for about a week, maybe something like that, because we would go to this church camp and we would all go together, me, my sisters, and my cousins. We would all go, so we would all stay at my aunt's house with my cousins, because that next morning my one of my cousins, he drove us there. So we all would go to church camp, so we all would stay there. So that morning of the 28th, me and my sister, we didn't go to the church camp. We didn't go to camp. We stayed back because one of our other cousins, he was getting his license that morning. He had, you know, scheduled to take his road test. So we just stayed back just to celebrate him when he got back and everything. That morning, I remember waking up and it kind of, I don't know, the atmosphere, it had like a calm before the storm type feeling. Now that I think back, because I'm like, it felt off, but it was still peaceful. Because I remember waking up, I remember going to see all the different rooms to see if anybody was up or anybody, you know what I'm saying, was there, or wasn't nobody in their rooms and nothing like that. I went downstairs and I seen that my sister was downstairs listening to music on the TV. And my cousin and my aunt hadn't came back yet. Like I said, I had like this calm before the storm type feeling, like something was off, but something also felt peaceful. Something also felt calm at the same time. So I don't know. So the night before, I think it was the night before, more family members had came over and we were playing Uno that night before, and we were all just enjoying each other's company and just having a good family time. And I really appreciate the fact that we did that. As a matter of fact, I think we even took a picture of all of us that night before the accident, and I'll actually insert it here so you guys can see. And we had a great time. Stayed up all night talking and whatnot, and you just doing regular family stuff. So that day, so my cousin finally comes home. Him and my aunt come home, and he has his license. He got his license, y'all. So we were excited because he was 16, I was 16, and my sister was 15. And you know, he like I said, my other cousin, which was his brother, he been had his license, been driving and stuff like that, but he already kind of had his own little groove going, his own little life going, whatnot. So he was like the cousin who had just got his, like, Jacob is his name. I'm gonna just so y'all know, Jacob. He was like the first of me and my sister Renee, the first of us to get our license. So that means, like, you know what I'm saying, we like the three amigos, where you see one, you see the other two behind you. So we was excited. We was like, oh yeah, we out of there. You know what I'm saying? You got your license. He finna get him a car next, you know what I'm saying? And we was finna be out of there. As a matter of fact, that day, and me and him had planned to go job hunting. So I was excited. And as a matter of fact, I think I was in school to get my license too during that time. So he came back and he showed us his license, and we were so excited. He looked so good. He looked so happy. We were so happy. I remember we was jumping on him, like We was jumping up and down, just so excited that he got him. And I'll never forget that moment. It's funny because I didn't even, I forgot. You know, when you deal with trauma, your brain kind of makes you forget a lot of parts of the story that happened. But just sitting here thinking about how excited we were when he came back, it really just kind of makes me it's a little emotional, y'all. But yeah, so we were excited. His mom had she asked us to go to the store and get some milk because there was no milk in the house. So in the store, it was literally like right around the corner. So we hop in the car, excited. We like, yes, he got his license. You know what I'm saying? He finally driving. We ain't got no adults in the car. We ready to roll. And it's funny because I remember my sister, she had hopped up in the front seat first. And you know, any older sibling ain't going for that. So I was like, no, get to the back. Okay. And you know, she was huffing and puffing and she got to the back, but little did she know that very thing is really what saved her life, honestly. So we go to the store, and this is it's like this suburban corner store. You know, it's like a corner store, but really in the suburbs because they live in the suburbs. And we got the milk, and we were playing music. I remember we were playing Macaroni Time. Macaroni Time by Chief Keef. I remember that. So we were playing that, and we were headed back to his house because his mom had a doctor's appointment, I think, that she had to go to. So we were headed back home, and the lane we were in, there was a lane to turn left, and there was a lane that you can go straight or turn right, okay? And as far as I could remember, and like I said, trauma will have you forgetting certain parts of, you know, what really happened. But as far as I can remember, we were in the lane to turn left because we had to turn left and go back to get back to his house. But as soon as the light turned green, he went straight. And there was no cars, not that I could remember, next to us or whatever. But he had went straight. So he was in the turn lane to go left, but he had went straight. And it was downhill from there, y'all. So he is like, he takes off. He takes off, and the speed limit was 50. And the road that we were on had, you know, some hills. You know what I'm saying? It had some curves, some hills and stuff like that. So the road that we were on, yeah, had a lot of curves and bumps and stuff. So he was going fast. And we had went over the first hump. And, you know what I'm saying, the first hump, we kind of get off the ground a little bit. You know what I'm saying? This is like a very little, like, you can tell, like, ooh, you went over that hump pretty fast. You know what I'm saying? And I remember looking at the speedometer. It kept rising. And I was looking over at him, and he had, like, this really concentrated look on his face. He was just, like, focused. You know what I'm saying? And we went over a second hump. And we were just going too fast. So we went over that second hump. And when we went over it, you know, we were off the ground more than we were at the first hump. So when we landed, we just think about science, you know what I'm saying? You going over a hump at a certain speed, you're going to be up, you know, till we finally landed. And when we landed, he lost control of the car. And the car was, you know, it started shaking. He lost control. He didn't know what to do. Because he had just got his license like hours before. Like, he got his license around 8 o'clock that morning. This was around 10:30. So he didn't know what to do. So the last thing I remember was us driving off into the grass, because it was nothing but it was like a lot of land, a lot of grass around. So the last thing I remember was us going off into the grass, and that was it. I remember we called on Jesus, we were so scared because we knew what was finna happen. You know, like at that moment, as soon as we landed and as soon as we started going off to the side of the road, we knew exactly what was finna happen. So we called on Jesus, and it's blank after that. I don't remember nothing after that up until the point where the paramedics came and they were, you know, getting us together. So we all are ejected from the car. We going out. I don't remember us finding out the car. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, the last thing I remember was us going off into the side of the road, and that was literally it. And then the next thing I remember after that was me laying on the ground, waking up to paramedics and people in my face. You know, so we all ejected from the car. I was in the front seat. I was the only one who had my seatbelt on. And as a matter of fact, I'll go ahead and put a picture of the car too, right here, so you guys can see what the car looked like. But I was the only person who had my seatbelt on. He didn't have his seatbelt on, neither did my sister. And that's why I said me putting her in the back really saved her life when we were at my aunt's house and she wanted to sit up front. Me telling her to go to the back really saved her life, because had she been up front, she probably wouldn't have had a seatbelt on and she would be dead. He died as soon as we hit, is what they say. They said he died immediately. The car was pretty much like ripped in half. My seatbelt broke, like I said, and I was ejected from the car. My sister was ejected from the car. When I woke up, when the paramedics came, I hadn't really even processed what happened. I told them it felt like I was in a dream. And when I had gained consciousness, because I was out of consciousness for, you know, however long it took for the paramedics to get there. So when I finally gained consciousness, all I see is all these people around me. And I'm like, think about it, I'm laying on the ground. It's hot ground because it's in the middle of June, at the end of June. And I'm seeing all these people standing around me, and, you know, just it's a lot of confusion. It's a lot to take in at one point in time. I'm like, what happened? The last thing I remember was me riding the car with my cousin and my sister. And then now I'm on the ground. So, and I remember in the, one of the reports, they said I was not hallucinating, but I was frantic or combative. I don't know, something like that. Because what I do remember was, I remember trying to, like, I think I was trying to get up off the ground by myself. And then also they were trying to help me, and I was like fighting them off. Like I was trying to hit them with this arm because I done broke this arm. Didn't even realize my arm was broken. So I'm trying to fight them off because I'm like, what is going on? Like, get away from me. Like, I'm good. I'm like, I'm fine. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Not even realizing what's happening. So they told me, they was like, you were just in a car accident. You know what I'm saying? We need to get you to the hospital. So, and then after, you know, as I'm really set into reality, you know what I'm saying? As I'm really gaining full consciousness, I'm like, oh my God, like, this is real, you know? So they get me in the ambulance, and I remember them cutting my clothes off. They taking scissors, they cut my favorite bra, favorite panties. They just cut it straight down, took everything off, and they were just like, what's your name? And I told them, like, Janae Farmer. And I was like, my sister is Renee Farmer. My cousin is Jacob Jolly. And they were like, you know, how old are you? Then it was like, do you know your mother's number? And I told them my mom's number. And I was like, it's really hard for me to tell. This is not a story I tell or I even speak on often, because for years it has been something that has been, even still to this day, hard for me to cope with. But by the grace of God, He's helped me to release this burden that I carry because of this accident, or the pain that I have because of this. He's helping me to release it as we speak. You know, I'm not totally I don't think I'm totally healed from it yet, but I'm making progress. So I'm gonna get emotional a couple of times, because this really is, it's a big part of me. It's a big part of who I am. I need some tissue, Lord Jesus. I can't go ahead and cry. Snot nose and this bad. So I told them who I was, who my sister was, who my cousin was, and how old we were, and anything I could remember at the time to help them. So, and I was asking, I was like, how is my sister? I wasn't even concerned about me because I'm here, I'm alive. You know what I'm saying? I can see, or I know that I'm alive. Like, I don't care what kind of condition my body's in. Only thing that I know for a fact is that I'm alive. And if this accident has did all this to me, then what did it do to my sister, to my cousin? Those were the only, I wasn't even worried about me. I was worried about them. So I'm in the stretcher. We on the way to the hospital. And, you know, I get to the emergency room. And then I remember my mom, my grandma, and my baby sister coming in. And there's tears in their eyes. And they're just like, everybody is so, like, sad. And I remember, now, at this time, I didn't know that Jacob was dead yet. I didn't know nothing about Jacob. I didn't know nothing about Renee. I'm still trying to figure out what's going on here. You know what I'm saying? So I remember my mom walked in crying. My grandma walked in crying. Everybody that, I've seen so many people that day. They walked in crying, and I remember trying to console them. I was like, I'm good. Y'all ain't gotta cry. I'm like, bro, I'm good. Like, I'm like, bro, I'm good. I remember my oldest sister, she had came in, and she was she was crying, and she was in my ear. I said, bro, you got all this tears in my ear, and I'm already like banged up, bruised up. I mean, oh God, I was blood everywhere, grass everywhere. My lips felt like they were out to here, and they said it was. My nose felt like it was just tore up. My eye was just messed up. I had a neck brace on. Like, I was just like, Deborah, you in my ear, all that sobbing, bro, back up. But yeah, we're in the hospital, and you know, they could have kept me because I was 16 years old, but because Renee, she was 15, they had to take her to a children's hospital. My mom was like, well, take them both over there because I'm not going to be going back and forth to different hospitals. So I remember they transferred me over to the hospital. I mean, I'm not seeing so many, like, when I was trying to console everybody because I'm like, yo, I'm good. And then I remember I kept asking, I was like, where's Renee? Where's Jacob? Like, what's going on here? Where is my road dogs? Like, okay, I'm cool, but where are they at? So I was asking about, they told me about Renee. They said, well, Renee's upstairs. Okay. And they were like, don't worry about Jacob. And it's, you can't tell me not to worry about somebody that was just in the same accident that I was in and that my sister was in and that landed me and my sister both in the hospital. And I'm seeing the condition I'm in. Y'all telling me my sister is in this hospital. She's upstairs. They're saying she's in the ICU floor. And you're telling me not to worry about the driver. Like, I knew that something was wrong. I felt it in my heart. I said, Lord, he is gone. And they just won't tell me. They don't even gotta tell me because I know he's gone. All right. Y'all, these lashes gonna fall off. Okay. So they put me back in the ambulance and they took us over to Children's Hospital. And when I arrived at Children's Hospital, you know, of course, they immediately take me to the emergency room to get me together. And my aunt and my uncle, which were Jacob's parents, they were there in the emergency room with me. My uncle, he had a little box of Donato's pizza. And I remember looking at it, I was like, so you just gonna sit over there and eat Donato's pizza and I'm up here like this, you ain't gonna offer me none? He was like, it looked good, don't it? Like, you know, we was just trying to, you know, make light as much of the situation as we could at that time. I'm in the emergency room. They're like picking, I mean, I don't remember feeling any kind of pain or nothing. The only thing, like I said, I remember was I had a neck brace on, which I didn't break my neck or my spine, nothing. They just was precaution. I felt like my lips and my nose was out here. My eye was busted, swollen shut. I don't remember feeling the pain from my arm really, and I had this big gash in my foot. Man, it was crazy. And I remember I was in the emergency room at Children's Hospital, and I was asking my uncle, like, where is Renee? Is she okay? He was like, Renee's okay. Okay. And then I was like, I said, how is Jacob? He was like, don't worry about Jacob. I said, okay. And I remember sitting on that. I remember sitting in the emergency room, and in my head, Tasha Cobb's, You Make Me Happy. That song I kept singing it. I kept singing it. And I kept singing it in my head. I remember I was moving my feet too with it. You know what I'm saying? And I kept singing that in my head, and I kept, and in my head, I prayed to God. I said, God, please let Jacob be okay. And I said, God, if he's not, if he is gone, and I pray that you have mercy on his soul and you grant him full repentance. And I pray that there's a spot for him in heaven. I just kept praying that over and over. And I kept singing that song in my head over and over and over again. They get done me in the emergency room, and they run all the CAT scans and MRIs or whatever, everything, all the tests they need to run. I finally, you know, get up and admitted into my actual room. And oh my God, like that news spread like wildfire, of course. Like family member after family member after people I haven't even seen in years was showing up to the hospital. It got so bad. People started coming in, seeing me so much. And the thing is, they couldn't go see Renee because Renee was in the ICU. Because let me tell you something about a miracle. She was literally, they had to revive her twice, okay? From the accident scene, they had to life flight her to the hospital because she was in such bad condition. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, when they had landed on the hospital, the first hospital, I think they said her heart stopped. You know what I'm saying? She pretty much died. So they had to revive her, and they brought her back, thank God. And critical condition, critical. Once they finally got into a room at one of the hospitals, she had flatlined again, and they had to bring her back. She was in a coma for like a week and a half, something like that, maybe more. I'm not really sure the total details, but she was in a coma for a minute. But because she was in such critical condition, you know what I'm saying, I'm sure there was a point they didn't even know if she was probably gonna make it or not. When the family came to see her, they couldn't go see her. They wouldn't even allow them people to go back to be on that floor to go back to see her, okay? But with me, they allowed people to, you know, I didn't have a limit as to how many people could come see me. So people were coming back to back to back to back, and it got so bad that my dad actually, he lived in Atlanta at the time, but as soon as he heard what happened, he caught the next flight out of Atlanta and came straight there. And he seen how many people was trying to come to the room all the time, and he actually put a block on that. He was saying like 2 visitors at a time, only a certain amount of time. And I remember, honey, my mom and it was so mad. It was like, how he gonna come all the way from Atlanta and try to run stuff up in here? But honestly, I mean, I definitely would have done the same thing for my kids. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if I live miles and miles away or if I live right around the corner. Like, this is a critical time for both my children, both his kids, you know what I'm saying? So we both need our rest. And, you know, when people coming in, I'm trying to stay up to, like, really see them, you know what I'm saying? Like, and all that good stuff. And he just seen that I needed my rest, so he put that on there. But, you know, so, yeah, that was that first day. It was so crazy. It was so much to still take in, you know? And I just, I was just still trying to figure everything out. You know what I'm saying? Still holding on to hope that Jacob was alive, but I knew in my heart he was dead. So fast forward maybe a couple days afterwards, I was talking to one of the, I don't know who she was. I think she was somebody who was trying to get like my stuff together. I don't know if, as far as like the PT and the OT and trying to get like my plan of care, I want to say, maybe something like that together, or maybe just, I don't even know who she was because she wasn't a nurse, you know what I'm saying, but maybe like a social worker or something, I don't know, something like that. I remember she came in one day as I was eating and she was like, yeah, you know, so I see that, you know, you had a lot of you know, a lot of injuries, you know, you got banged up pretty bad. And I was like, yeah. And then she was like, and I also understand that, you know, there was a death. And I remember my mom was on the phone. And as far as I can remember, she was on the phone talking to somebody else and she stopped and looked at the girl. Like, I can't believe you just told her that. And I told her, I was like, I didn't know there was a death. And she was like, oh. She realized she had messed up. But it don't matter. So later on that afternoon, my uncle comes back, Jacob's parents, and my aunt, his parents, and my grandma and my mom, they come back. Well, my mom was still there, but they come in the room and whatnot. Everybody was still, they really didn't go nowhere, but they come into the room. They come into the room, and, you know, my uncle was like, he said, did you hear about what's going on with Renee? And I said, what I remember was, she's not talking, but she's okay. Because that's pretty much how they put it. He was like, okay, which is, yeah, that's right. And then he said, and have you been hearing some stuff about Jacob? I was like, yeah. I haven't been hearing much, but I have a feeling I know what's going on with Jacob, you know. And he was like, what do you think happened? I was like, he's dead. He was like, yeah, he died. So he had my grandma pray for me. And I just remember just letting the tears they just came, and I just cried. And I cried and I cried. Because I knew he was dead, but to hear like, he's not here no more. He is gone. That's it. There's no chance for him to get better. He's gone. He's not here. So to hear that he was dead, it took a piece of my heart that for a long time I felt like I could never get back. And I remember my grandma praying for me, and I just cried and I let it out. But I also felt some sort of like release, knowing the truth and not just coming up with what I'm thinking in my head. Now I can properly start moving forward to healing, you know, now that I actually know the truth. Yeah, he's gone. My baby is gone. And, you know, you get those cousins that are like your favorite cousins, like wherever we literally were like, we grew up together. We were the closest in age. We were like 2 months apart. Like, his birthday was November the 12th. Mine was January the 11th. We literally were like my aunt, when she was pregnant with him, before she knew he was a boy, she thought it could have been a girl, and she said if it was a girl, she was going to name her Janae Elizabeth, which is my name, because all her boys are J-E-J, you know, J-E Jolly, so she was going to name her Janae Elizabeth Jolly, but she had Jacob, and my mom was pregnant with me at the time. And wherever you seen Jacob, you seen me, and Renee, you seen one, you seen all three of us. We were like thick as thieves. And he was such a big part of my heart. And I just felt like my heart was ripped out my chest. But I thank God, even to this day, that although I hate how he had to go, I thank God that I was able to spend his last seconds here on earth with him. So, yeah. Hell, after that, Renee comes out of her coma, you know, eventually. And I remember the first day she came out of her coma, she asked about me. And I was so ready to see her, and they had to wheel me upstairs to see her. And she was just like, Janae, and just hearing her and looking at her, she's like, I miss you so much. And I just wanted to cry so bad, but I had to be strong for her. And she was asking me, she was like, where's Jacob? And I said, he's okay. I said, don't worry about Jacob, he's okay. The same thing they told me. She was like, okay. Because it wasn't time for her to hear that yet. Now I'm getting into some of these injuries. I know, even though that's not really the most, you know, important part, but we was banged up. Like, I had a mild brain injury, so mine wasn't as bad as hers, but it was still, you know, I still had a brain injury. I had broke or fractured or broke, whatever, the bone, this bone right here in your eye, I broke that, which is why my, and I had double vision for like a week and a half, something like that. I had broke my nose, busted my lip. I had broken my arm. Let me see if I can, y'all see that? Sorry, it's hard for me to still turn my arm totally. That little line right there. I broke my arm. They had to put a plate in my arm. Let's see. I fractured my spleen. That's what they said. I fractured both pelvic bones, and I had a 3rd grade laceration to the kidney, which is laceration like a cut. So it was a deep, you know, 3rd grade cut in my kidney, and that came from the seatbelt breaking. I tore my MCLs, what it was called. I can't remember which knee though. That's crazy. I think it was a left knee. But both knees be hurting too, so I don't know. And I have this, matter of fact, I'll show y'all this gash in my foot. The gash that was in my foot, it was so big that they had to take a skin graft from my thigh and put it over there because it was so big it wouldn't close up on its own. And you can kind of see like where the staples and stuff, let me see, like where the staples used to be and things like that. Like, yeah. So yeah, those are all of my injuries. I had to learn how to get my mobility back. I had to learn how to, you know what I'm saying, I had to learn how to walk again. It didn't take long though. I was only in the hospital for like a few days shy of 4 weeks, or a few days shy of a month. About 4 weeks I was in the hospital. And I recovered actually pretty quickly, honestly, and it's a miracle. And I say this accident was something that was very life-changing for me because I obviously, as y'all can tell, you know what I'm saying, not only did I lose somebody that was so important to me, but I had a whole different outlook on life after that. You know what I'm saying? Like, literally, I'm gonna show the card one more time just so y'all know, like, I literally, there should have been no way I made it out of that accident alive. Like, my God, I should have died. I should have died. My sister should have died. You know what I'm saying? Jacob shouldn't have been the only person dead that day. There should have been 3 funerals and not just one. Thank God it wasn't 3. You know what I'm saying? Even though I hate that it had to be 1 period. But I should have died. You know what I'm saying? It was just, I feel like that was God giving me a second chance at life. You know what I'm saying? And even sometimes still to this day, I take that for granted because it's like, you know, I think it has just been my life that I don't even realize how, like, the favor of God that was over us on that day. Because, ooh, we should have been dead. I definitely should have been dead sitting in the front seat. Had I not had my seatbelt on, I would have been dead. Thank God, you know what I'm saying, for me having that wisdom to put my seatbelt on. And to this day, I do not play around with no seatbelt. Like, I don't even like sitting in the back seat without a seatbelt. I buckles up. because you do not know what's going to happen. What I did want to say was I remember the day of the accident, right when we went off on the side of the road. And I'm telling this story because for a long time, even up until recently, I struggled with, you know, I always felt like there's something I could have done to stop that. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I just felt like I feel survivor's guilt. I think that's what it's called. And I just felt like it's not fair that he had to go. And what could I have done so we could all be here or what? You know, I just struggled with that. And I remember right when we had went off into the side of the road, like I said, I don't remember us actually hitting anything or ejecting from the car. But as soon as we went on the side of the road, I remember black. And then I went into this like dream. And in this dream, it's me, Jacob, and Renee. We're driving down the road off into a sunset, and it was so peaceful. And now looking back, I feel like that was God's way of comforting me because he knew I was going to need that. You know what I'm saying? God, that's God showing me like, you know what? It happened and there's not much you can do about it, but take solace in the fact that he's at peace. And I do. And there was one night I had a dream about maybe sometime this year, maybe last year. I was thinking heavy about him that day or about the accident. And I was feeling so much guilt because I'm like I said, I feel like there was something I could have done to this. I feel like there's something I could have did to stop it. I don't know. So in that dream, he was crying and he was weeping. He was mourning because he felt so bad. And I know my Jacob, if he was here, bro, like he was that boy was tough. Okay, he was like, you ain't gonna play around with Jacob. You know what I'm saying? Like he get on your behind. But when it came to his cousins, you know, he had a soft spot for us. In a dream, he was crying and he was mourning. He was just so sad about what happened. He hate that he did this stuff. He's like, I'm sorry that, you know what I'm saying, y'all have to live this life because of what I did. And, you know, I remember in the dream I comfort him and I feel like it was God speaking through me, talking to him. But in actuality, this is like what God is really telling me to comfort me in the natural. You know what I'm saying? When I wake up. And I remember telling him like, you know what? None of us wanted it to be like this. None of us seen this coming. But God knew what was going to happen. God knew that this was going to be the outcome, and there's nothing we could have done to change that. I'm not saying it's God's will for him to be dead at 16 years old. You know what I'm saying? But what I am saying is that God knew because of the decision that he decided to make, where that was going to lead us. We don't like it, but there's nothing we could have done to stop it, is what I told him. Like, there's nothing we could have done to stop that. We were already too far gone. You know what I'm saying? By the time we realized what was happening, I woke up that next day feeling relieved because I feel like that's God telling me, like, there's nothing I could have done to stop that. You know, we hate that it happened, but he knew it was going to happen. You know what I'm saying? And it was out of my control. There's nothing I could have done. You know what I'm saying? Personally. So I feel like that was God speaking through me to him in that dream, but that's really God speaking to me. And I just, you know, since then I'm better at learning to let that guilt and that shame go. But, you know, it is still hard. That's my baby. That's my man. Like, that's my road dog. I just think about what he would look like if he was still here, what we'd be doing, like, everything. But only God knows, you know? Only God knows. But yeah, so that was that. That's the story on that. Thank y'all for listening, because that really is not an easy story for me to tell, and I do not speak about it often, because it's still a lot of weight that I carry because of that. But I'm learning to trust God more and more, and you know, I'm learning to get over my burdens to him, get over my weight to him, so he can carry that for me. So But definitely stick around for another story time. It won't be as emotional as this one, but I got some good stories too, y'all, I tell y'all. So I'm gonna go ahead and go on to sleep, take these lashes off. I only did it for this video shoot. Ooh. There's one more thing I wanted to say. I did have to put a filter on because I snatched my lashes off, so I wanted to look semi-decent. But I want every new driver who hears this story, I pray that God, he leads you to this story. It's no joke being behind the wheel of a car. Okay, you think you know what you're doing until you have to be in a position where, until you're in a position where, you know what I'm saying, you have to maneuver a certain kind of way and you just don't know how to do that. Drive like you don't know what you're doing. Drive like you're a new driver. Don't drive like you have years of experience, because you don't have years of experience. And if you're ever up against a situation like we were, you're not going to know what to do. And that can cost you your life. That can cost somebody else their life. So I just want, I just wanted to say that as well, y'all. Hope y'all have a great night.
Come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see